Should be live. Right, well, get started anyway. So we have a piece of kit at work that I wish I'd thought of sooner, because I had the idea for it, and then I went and looked, and yeah, sure enough, they already had the product. So we had a thing called a chassis ear for a while, and the original one was a great big bundle of wires with these clips at the ends, and in there, not in that one apparently, it's down in the handle, but they had microphones or piezos, really, but inside the shrink wrap is a little microphone dealy, and you clamp this onto some suspension component, and there was a little, actually fairly large, distribution box, and then you plug some headset into that, and looped all the cords out from under the car to wherever you had them connected, and back up into the cab, and drove around and let you hear noises from whatever you had it clipped to. Determine which side a wheel bearing was bad on, what's making that clunking noise when it goes over bumps, that sort of thing. It worked. A little unwieldy. I said to one of my coworkers once, it'd be really great. Somebody should come up with one of these, only, it's 2010. Somebody should come up with one of these, only make it wireless. Have a little radio box that you plug the microphone into, and have another box in the car with you that you can then change channels and listen to whatever you're doing. Go ahead and look for it, and sure enough, somebody's already come up with it. Because of course they have. So we've had this thing for a number of years now, and it actually works pretty well. So yeah, box 1, channel 1. So like that, you put it on a wheel bearing, you drive down the road, you hear raw, 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 raw on the one side, you don't hear anything on the other side, you know where this is clipped to, you know where the noise is coming from. So, I was trying to use it the other day, and one of these leads actually works. course, I've picked the one that works in all orientations, so let me swap that out. Alright, so I was trying to use this the other day to find a wheel bearing noise, and found that in certain, unless you had the wire in just the right position, no signal. Oh, there it comes. No signal. So there's a bad connection in here somewhere. And we have, the kit comes with 4. So you have channel 1 through 4, and you can buy 5 and 6, or you can buy replacements for the other ones, should you lose any. We have 3 at the moment, because I let one fall off of a car. And obviously this is no good if, you know, there's a connection problem in here. And so we have one of them that actually works correctly. It's just for grins. I took one of the ones that didn't work and cut it open, and it's just a little bitty piezo disc. You know, that does what piezos do. You put pressure on it, and it makes an electrical impulse and some microphone. And the cable that they use has one insulated conductor and one bare wire. And as I cut the insulation off of it and worked my way down, I found that there was in fact a spot where the bare wire was opened up. Hence why you bend the wire, it makes connection, it works. You bend the wire the other way, it breaks connection, it stops working. Makes sense. So, what I'm going to try is, I have can't throw anything away because it might be useful someday. I have stacks and stacks and stacks of garbage in my garage. I have some ABS cables off of I don't know what this was off of. Probably, well, this was off of a Ford, because Fords have that style of connector. And that one, I don't know. And this is a GM of some description because it has a GM style connector. At any rate, so changing wheel bearings, and the ABS sensors are integrated into a lot of the wheel bearings now. So cut the cable off. Oh, I'll find a use for this someday. Hey, I finally have. Imagine that. So I'm gonna strip the ends of this out and solder the piezo disc onto this. And well, actually, first I'm going to open this end up and see how difficult it's going to be to connect onto this end. I may have to get some RCA connectors if that proves to be difficult. But if it is relatively easy, I'm going to try to change this wire over, which is substantially beefier than, not conductor size necessarily, but just the overall strength of the cable is going to be a lot more. And of course these are designed to be twisted around, and you know, as some part of it is moving whenever, as one end is attached to the, you know, the knuckle and steers when you moves when you steer, and the other end is connected to the body of the vehicle somewhere. So this is meant to be always moving, or moving back and forth at a relatively constant rate. So this chair doesn't have a back on it. I almost fell out. this guy up. Okay. So that is probably the cheapest plug that they could get. With some wire on it, and just was probably cut off about that long, and just stripped it back and stuck that guy on it. So that might be a trick. I would like to go as close to the connector as possible. See, I just sawed right through the bare wires. This is a pretty terrible cable, actually. Or I'm using the wrong tool, one or the other. Yep, that came right off. Jeez, that's awful. I'm gonna have to order some RCA jacks for this, I think. Focus, damn it. Alright. Probably could have cut that not quite so close to the strain relief. Would it be a trick if I actually had some RCA cables here I could cannibalize? That would be nice. This is all going to be molded. Yeah, I really don't like the way that that's been done with only one conductor like that. Well, that's unfortunate. There's a drawer right where my knee is. So, we're trying to fix this chassis air here. Two of the three leads I have for it have bad connections here in the cable somewhere, and I'm trying to take the old bits and scab some new wires onto them and make it work properly again. Unfortunately, I don't have a huge amount to work with, half of the problem is that this cable has one one insulated conductor and one bare wire, and this very, very, very fine wire, but the bare wire doesn't really have its own protection. So I think that if it were insulated too, it wouldn't break quite so easily. But it does, and it's what I have to work with at the moment. I may have to come up with some. Yeah, I don't remember what the whole tool cost, because it's the shop tool. But yeah, getting them cut apart like this, they're clearly not the most expensive piece of kit ever. Kind of unfortunate. So, but see what we can do. Yes. So the other end of it just has this piezo disc. It does you can see the solder connections on there. So I'm going to take this ABS wire and what I'll do is just strip the ends of it down, as this will be a lot beefier than the old wire, and solder it to the piezo disc. And unfortunately I'm gonna have to solder it straight to the old connectors, at least for now. I may try to get some better just bare RCA connectors and come back to this at some point, but I was saying a few minutes ago that this wiring might not be any beefier than, that the cable itself would be stronger than what we were working with before, but the wiring itself might not be. But that's clearly not the case, as this ABS cable is at least 1 or 2 gauges bigger than what's in this. This was probably, it's cheap audio junk, I'm sure. But yeah, so that should work out okay. Yeah, I suspect that's what I'm going to end up doing. But, try and get one of these. My problem at work is that I have only 3 channels to work with, and 2 of them have bad connections. So if I can get at least one more, even temporarily working, I can come back and get some more parts and come back to it at a later date. Yeah, this cable's tough as nails. This is a chassis here. So the idea is you have this little. This is a wireless version of something that they had a while ago that was directly wired from these microphone clips up to a little amplifier box you plugged headphones into, and they came out with the wireless version, so you have a little radio box that the lead plugs into. Turn that on. Clip this onto, knuckle or strut or whatever you're trying to find, wheel bearing noise or strut noise or something. And you attach this firmly and don't just rely on the magnet that's in there, or otherwise you will lose them. That's why I have only 3 of these instead of the full 4. And you go drive it and you can hear the noises. Only, like I was saying, a couple of these have wiring problems. Holy crow, there's 9 people in the chat. How about that? Alright. Well, welcome, welcome. Needless to say, having connection problems makes it difficult to diagnose problems. And there's only, ouch, one position that the, alright, one position that the silly thing will work in. I should learn to put my tools away after 15 years of doing this. Almost. There we go. Oh, this terrible wire, just throw away. Not worth saving to recycle. Unfortunately, I gotta reuse this for the moment. Trash. So I think I'm gonna have it like that. That should work. So we'll just cut these off about half again as far. Looks pretty terrible. My pan of ice is over here. So, yeah, there it is. Make this work. Oops, it's on the camera. It's gripping up at the top at all. Oh, clearly not what it was intended for. Yeah, this is going to be the tricky bit. Figure out how to clamp this goofy thing. Take a piece of paper. Hopefully that gives me enough. Thunk. This setup would be perfect if I were left-handed. It's not the best. It seems to cool off pretty quickly. Trick is going to be, how do I hold it like this? Dear. some better nippers. These are junk. That seems to be on relatively well. Oh, people need to learn how to friggin' drive. Sure. Hey, GPC. I am trying to fix a wireless chassis here, which is a noise finding device for automotive stuff, wheel bearings, pad struts, stuff like that. And have these leads here that have a couple of them have a bad connection because the wire is like really super cheap, and trying to scab this ABS wire onto it. Unfortunately, what with it being really cheap, the RCA connectors that it uses are all kinds of not particularly service friendly. Well, since you're asking, I'll wander over here. There's the Jeep trailer, by the way, which will get a coat of paint at some point. So there she sits. Back up a little bit. Couple of minor odds and ends left to be done. A little bit of spot painting. But right now I'm just waiting for PennDOT to get back to me with some license plates. Well, a license plate. But I have some, just minor minor little things. You know, I got to paint these fittings. I got to paint this slave connector. I have got to put the rest of these fasteners in the windshield wiper cover and spot paint that. I have another mirror, because these originally, they came from the factory with just a driver's side mirror like this, and they were round. So I have these nice big square ones, and I'm gonna put another one of these on the other side. And what else? The heater. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Got seat belts in it the other week. I don't know if you're here for that or not. So this flap doozy here is a air intake for the heater system, so you can have outside air or recycled air. And here's one of the duct hoses, and here's part of the heater box up there. I can't see the screen, but maybe you can see up there. There's a little flap up there that this cowl door actuates for the recycled air or non-recycled air. And then there's another big box that hangs off of this that has the heater core in it, and then there's a fan on the side. And so that all has to go back in. And then this rubber fuel line is going to get replaced with a correct steel one at some point. Other than that, it's pretty much ready for the road. It's insured. Like I said, I'm waiting on PennDOT to get back to me with a license plate. Yeah. I had I used to have a 1990 Ranger, and I used to have a 90 Ranger, regular cab, stick. I got it for like $300-400 because apparently those Ford 5-speeds had a problem with dropping reverse out of the box. So I got it for cheap and pulled the transmission and fixed fifth gear in it, and I was running that for a while. And one of the guys at work had a extended cab 89 Ranger that he'd actually gotten that one. Why won't you heat up? He'd actually gotten that one for about the same reason I got mine, is it had dropped reverse out of it, and the customer didn't want to spend the money to fix it, so he actually got a junkyard box that still worked. And that one had a head gasket leak and didn't run quite as well as my 90 did. So what did I do? I went and I pulled the motor and trans out of the 90 and swapped them into the 89. Okay. Yeah, swapped it into the 89 and scrapped the 90. Wow, that does not want to stick to that wire for some reason. That is the damnedest thing. What am I going to do about that? I don't know. Yeah, I just recently sold the 89 Ranger to my old roommate because he desperately needed a running inspectable vehicle. They're pretty decent trucks, though. I don't think I ever was. Yeah, I don't think I ever had any problems with them that weren't of my own making. I seem to have an issue with miscounting spark plug wires when I put things back together, and not getting everything lined up on the right cylinder. Of course, those 4-cylinder Rangers had dual ignition systems. Why don't you heat up and stick, you bastard? Ouch. I wonder if maybe the solder's not gonna stick. This may be aluminum wire. It may not stick very well to it. Oh. It's stuck to the piezo. That's strange. I don't think I have a flux pen anymore either. Get it dried out. Melted the insulation off of it. This is being a right bastard. Is it? Okay. Let me turn that off. I may not be able to do a whole lot about that. My streaming setup is literally an old Android phone. Although it could have been that I walked away from it for a minute there, or I'm just not talking loudly enough. But No, for some reason I can't quite. Oh, there it goes finally. And trying to get these to tin a little bit. Yeah, I appreciate it. But they're just not cooperating at all. So I'm gonna try some. I have some other solder here. I thought this was flux core, but maybe it didn't. But, yeah, I tried to. I'm sort of doing this literally with stuff that I had lying around. Found out that there's some Android apps and whatnot that let you. So I'm basically streaming direct to Twitch off of SAR insulated, streaming straight off of the cell phone, and kind of limits me in what kind of advanced options I have. Oh, things finally got them to 10. Yeah, and I think these will hold up better than the old ones. Where was I? Yeah, so I think I'm just going to try and get this on here briefly, just to make sure that I got the other end connected correctly and that it actually works. And then I'm going to get find some better RCA connectors. But where was I? Anyway, I don't remember. Oh yeah, so I tried running OBS on a laptop that I have, and as it turns out, the laptop is not quite up to spec enough to run OBS. So I'm stuck with the cell phones for the moment, until I stop throwing money at cars for a little while and pick up some slightly better computer hardware. Well, I think my desktop in the house would do fine, but it lives in the house and not in the garage. So someday maybe this will get a little higher quality, but not tonight. Yeah, man. It actually kind of stuck together. All right, cool. I know I own at least 2 pairs of needle nose pliers, and I don't know where they are. One of them would really be handy right about now. work good enough to, hopefully it'll work good enough to check this. And on, turn the big box on. And where's the other end of that? Here it is. Yep. So that's not pretty, but it works. And it doesn't want to focus. Focus. Wants to keep focusing. Yeah, that's more the problem. Alright. Oh. RCA connectors on the shopping list. Where is this here? That won't fit. No matter. Yeah, that's the idea. You clip those onto whatever you suspect is near to making the noise, and go drive it around. It usually works pretty well. But like I said, I was having connection problems because of the cheap cabling they used. And when I port this over to YouTube, I'll link it to Steelman and say, hey, I made your stuff better. Amazed. I just wish that I'd had the idea for it first. Yeah, well, that's there's still a. I'll say this: I've been working at this shop for 11 years, and started out doing tire jockey stuff, and went and did oil changes and that sort of thing. Let the header gun warm up, and got into doing alignments and front end work and stuff, and so I've been doing front end work for probably at least 6 years now, since I've been at the shop. And yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of just well, how do we fix this front end? Hit it with a hammer until it's better, right? And that sort of thing. And depending on what it is, a lot of times the first thing I'll do with something is just bring it onto the alignment rack and pick up whatever end is I think the issue is, and you turn it over by hand. And the trouble comes with sort of marginal stuff. Yeah. You have a customer come in. Oh, well, it makes this noise when this happens, and it's almost imperceptible, right? And so that's when this stuff comes in handy. So it's meant to look like that inside, so the piezo is actually going to be way up here by the hinge, and hopefully we'll get that. Yeah. Really wish I had some needle nose. Cable cutters, not over there. Trying to think what good ones I've had this week. Nothing catching fire and burning to the ground, but yeah, sometimes getting information out of customers is literally like pulling teeth. Oh, it's doing this thing. Okay, well, can't find anything wrong. Oh, but it does this thing, but only when you do this. He's got to talk to him 3 or 4 times before you figure out the whole story. Oops. Make sure this still works. It's a little quiet. I think you could probably wouldn't hurt to have it sitting down flush a little bit more, but I'm not entirely certain how to get it to do that. Yeah. Hey Doc, it hurts when I do this. Don't do that. I can't tell you how many customers that we've had at work that I would love to say that to, you know. Oh, well, you know, it has a vibration at 95 miles an hour, you know. Like, well, okay, don't go 95 miles an hour in, you know, Pennsylvania. You know, if we're known for nothing else, it's for having crappy roads. Alright, go ahead and balance them up. Yeah, I imagine that's probably true. Fortunately, I didn't do a whole lot of interaction with the customers, so I just I just tend to complain to my coworkers. But yeah, when you're actually dealing with the customers, you have to be a little bit more conscientious. I wonder if maybe putting some silicone under that would couple it to the clips a little better. That's not really... Oh, yeah. It's not coupling very well, but it could be that the heat shrink I'm using is a little thicker than what was in there. That could be part of it. If maybe that heat shrink is on too tight. Oh, no, it's because I've broken it. That's why. Okay. Well, good for me. One more thing for my shopping list. Cool. That was a waste of time. Oh, well, at least it was one of the broken ones. I know better what I need now. What a pain. Oops. Yeah, well, Why doesn't this pick up worth a damn? Oh, you've broken the friggin' crystal off it, that's why. That stinks. Wrecker outside. Alright. Well, I don't go back to work until Monday anyway, so. No worries. Alright, so. I need some piezo discs. I need thinner heat shrink. I need RCA connectors that aren't shipped. Yep, that sounds about right. Ruby. Size is that roughly? Here it is. That's probably about a ½ inch. Do you have a ½ inch? About a ½ inch? Yeah, it's maybe a smidgen under a ½ inch. 11, 12 millimeter maybe. Time is 20:10. Just for grins. Round out the evening. Chuck the mirror on this real quick. I can find all the hardware I need. That is. Yeah, it was a shade. It was a shade under a ½ inch, so probably 12 millimeter. ½ inch is 12.7. So stands to reason. Fit, right? Probably. I'll be there shortly, I swear. That's not it. You're too big. There it is. What I've been looking for. Be right back with some wrenches. Nearly 3/8. Almost 3/8. doodads. NOS mirror came to have 10mm nut on it. There she is. Build it. How do you mean? Probably gonna be not even close to where it needs to be. But yeah, no, that's not helpful right now at all. But nice big mirror on that side. A weird little rear view mirror there. Picked this. Is a new old stock top. Picked that up last week. And the rear vinyl's actually clear. You can see out of it. It's not cloudy and terrible like the that used top that I got. Holy cow. I mean, as far as building the mirror holder, I mean, you can fantastically friggin' cobbled together streaming rig. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, if if I accidentally touch the power button on the phone and it turns the screen off, it stops streaming, because that makes sense, you know. At any rate, I mean, you could, quote unquote, build the, not sure which part of the mirror holder you were talking about, but all this stuff's just, it's not super complex. And, let's see how that works. That's better. You probably can't see it, but I can see it. Yeah, that's looking at the right rear tire. Oh! And, but that's easily enough adjustable with the bipedal with a torch and just hit it with a hammer. That's probably not far off from how it's actually made. I mean, that's a couple of basic industrial processes there, I imagine you're not far off. That'll probably be better. Yeah, I don't tend to do a whole lot of fabrication. Mostly for my own purposes. Typically at work, if we need something that we can't just unbolt and replace, and if it's really simple, we'll do it. But other than that, we'll send it out to a body shop or something. And, yeah, hopefully coming up here, I might have some fabrication stuff to stream. I'm headed out tomorrow afternoon to look at another Subaru and hopefully pick that up. That needs some suspension work, and I'm gonna want to put a whoopsie daisy. I'm gonna want to put a trailer hitch on it, and of course the only good trailer hitch is a 2-inch trailer hitch, or the more useful trailer hitch is a 2-inch trailer hitch. And a lot of the older Subarus, you can only get 1 1/4. So, like I did on my Impreza, I will just get a commercial hitch and cut the small tube off and weld on a 2-inch piece, so I can actually use it with. Yeah, they do. Oh. On account of the height difference from the Jeep to my Subaru to haul the. Oh, this is heavy. To drag the trailer around with. I've got this thing, which weighs a bloody ton. Arc welder or MIG with gas? I have a. I use MIG. I have a little Hobart. I think it's like a 140 down there. I have a gas bottle on the back. I think. No, I have it set up with real. Because the last stuff that I was doing with it was the last stuff that I remember doing with it was this guy right here. This had a, and you might be able to see it on the other side. Is the light on? There, the light's on. Oh, you can see sort of some of the impact damage right there. I don't know, the personal history of this. So I can only really have conjecture as to what it went through. But there's obviously, this is not supposed to be indented quite like that. And it had a big ol' puncture right there. And so I cut that out and scabbed in a piece of sheet metal to try and, I'm not the world's best welder by any stretch of the imagination, just to try and keep it from blowing through all the time. I put like 024 solid wire in and was running it with gas. But for something big like putting a receiver tube onto a hitch, I'd probably switch over. And you see there's more. It's caved in on this side too, from hitting something or something landing on it or whatever. But I'd probably switch over to the big flux core and run that. So it's not a whole lot of fab work, although hopefully if this other Subaru turns out all right, it's what I want to do. Since I sold my truck to my buddy, want to pick up another vehicle just to have a spare, two is one and one is none and all that. Since this is going to be tagged as an antique, I can't. If I have an emergency, sure, I can drive it every day for a couple of days while I, get my other shit sorted out. But, it's not meant to be a daily driver, really. Hopefully, this other car works out. I can pick that up and then I'll have a spare that I can drive on a daily basis. And I have such big plans, such things that I'd like to do with the Impreza, but a lot of it involves taking the front bumper off and measuring things and waiting for metal stock to come in so that I can build a bumper for it or what have you. And it's kind of annoying to have to, oh well, do I tear it down on the weekend? And now I got to go somewhere. I got to put it back together. Do I tear it down on a weekday? And I got to pull it all apart and take measurements or do whatever, do a little bit of work, and then put it all back together so I can go to work in the morning. I'd just rather have something I can rip it apart and leave it ripped apart for a week or whatever while I get parts and stuff, and then drive the other one to work and back. Yeah, I have no complaints with my Subaru. Really, it's only let me down once. That wasn't my fault. The time that was my fault was a fuel starvation problem. Totally operator error. And, but yeah, as far as getting in and out of the weather, no, it's great. That white turd right there is my payment for the Ranger that I quote unquote sold to my friend. Hopefully trying. Yeah, no kidding. Hopefully try and get that thing inspected and sold one of these days. I'm just about done, so I'm gonna bring the Impreza in. Cool. Walk around that a bit, and I'm just about done. Also, oh geez, that big snow that we had this year, I couldn't even get out of I literally I really shot myself in the foot. Let me give you. The problem with it was that snow was so light. I don't remember if you said where you're from, but up here in Pennsylvania, it was so light it just blew around and drifted everywhere. And I've got this thing back here with a 6-foot scraper blade on it, and like, oh, that's totally overkill for for the little Kentucky. Okay, for the little bit of driveway that I have there. So I picked up an old Gravely 2-wheel walk-behind tractor from a friend of mine at an event I work, and it's got a mower for it. It's got a couple other odds and ends, but it has a like a 4-foot plow blade, and I figured this big Ford tractor is such a pain to get out and make it work. And I'll just use this Gravely. It'll be fine. I kid you not. I could not get 10 feet out from the garage. I mean, for starters, I had to shovel my way from the house back to the garage here. I could not get, 10 feet out from the garage with this little Gravely because the snow was so, it had fallen and then it had all blown over and drifted up so that it was probably 4 or 5 feet high in front of the garage. So yeah, there was no way that I was making it out on that one. Other than that, no problems. So there's the highly unusual 2-inch receiver tube on a Subaru Impreza, and the gigantic military trailer connector. I plugged the Jeep trailer straight into that. Yes, that's actually held up fairly well, I think, for not being a professional welder or anything. It's at least it hasn't fallen off yet anyway. Yeah, so yeah, that's my daily. Way up, because this thing has a terrible lens. I had this since when I buy it 05 or so. No, it sure doesn't. It's got the cancer right there. I've already had I had to put a fuel filler in it earlier this year because that was leaking. I've already cut part of that out, and it's rusting through right next to where I did some repairs. I did a whole bunch of body repairs under the fender there. It's doing the same thing on this side, so that's one of the things that I'd like to fix, but to actually get in and do it and take the time and make it kind of right, you have to pull the bumper off and jack it up and take the wheels off so you have room to work, and I don't want to have to jam all that into one evening and then go to work again in the morning. So we'll see. Hopefully if I pick up this other car, I think that'll give me a little bit of fodder for these streams, as that needs some suspension work, and then hopefully I can do some fun stuff with this. All right, I got a lot of stuff to do this weekend, a lot of driving around, so I'm gonna. Oh, hey, perfect timing. 14% battery on the streaming camera. So yeah, that's gonna do me for tonight. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. And I don't know when I'll stream again necessarily. Maybe once I depending on how long it takes to get the parts in for this chassis here, I might stream some more of that. Yeah, and then we'll see. I tried streaming a little bit from work the other day, and I haven't watched the VOD all the way back yet, but it seemed like it was kind of janky, which part of that may be from the Wi-Fi access point being in like the other half of the building, and me trying to work from inside of a hole in the ground. I wasn't expecting it to be great, but I wanted to see how it worked out, because I want to, when I have the Jeep on the road, I want to take that in and get it lined up, and I wanted to video that. So since the stream is kind of marginal. I might just do YouTube for that one. Just take a couple of videos and upload it directly. Do it that way. But we'll see. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Good talking with you, and we'll talk to you again at a later date. Good night.